Hannah Kessler.
This gal started her own bank at the age of 18, and then you became a self-made millionaire by the age of 24?
I did.
Hannah Kessler is a money mentor.
She's known as the single millionaire chick.
With advice on how to stop living paycheck to paycheck.
Money starts with your mindset.
How you think about your money is going to greatly impact how much money that you have.
I grew up in a town called Olathe, Kansas. I'd be walking out of the door, going to school, and my mama would holler at me, "Hannah, make good choices." And I'd have to holler back, "Because the choices I make today will affect my future."
My parents, they did a very good job about teaching me as a child how to handle my money. We have a lack of understanding when it comes to money.
If you want your kids to have money, you need to start talking to them about it while they're young.
I'm really second generation to this concept that's called the infinite banking concept.
And at 18 years old, my dad gave me the choice to start my own bank that then led me to becoming a millionaire by the time I was 24.
Now you've written a book to help tie it all together.
So the companion is really just teaching kids that, not specifically money, but really important life lessons.
Now being the owner of the Money Multiplier, I help serve over 17,000 clients in every state of the country.
Where can people get the book?
HannahKessler.com. Hannah spelled the same way forwards and backwards, Kessler with one S.
Also, I got my podcast show, the Money Multiplier Podcast.
And make good choices today, because the choices you make today will affect your future. Well, good morning, my friends. Hello. Make good choices, because the choices you make today will affect your future. I'm feeling it today. I stayed up a little too late last night. So we were back on the road. I'm heading back to Florida. I'm about 14 hours out or so I'll probably make it home by Friday. But we got to get back home. We have to prep, because coming up, we got Tampa Money Game Live, baby. So it's shaping out. So we have over 100 folks coming. Right now we're at about 132 registered folks coming out. And I mean, it's going to be a powerful room. So I'm looking forward to seeing all of y'all. VIP has officially sold out. But if you are still wanting to come as a GA guest, you can come in to the event in Tampa, moneygamelive.com. And also, I am going to be at a local RIA meetup on Thursday, the 26th. Okay, so Thursday the 26th in St. Petersburg, Florida. So St. Pete, for all of my folks who are out there, if you want to come and join the meetup, it's a free event. It's ran by a gentleman named Eric Greenstein, and Eric runs a lot of the RIAs around Florida. So he's actually based out of Fort Lauderdale, but he does the Tampa, Orlando, St. Pete, Fort Lauderdale, and I think even the Miami RIA. I could be wrong there, maybe not Miami. But great people. So if y'all are in the real estate space or want to get involved in real estate investing, it's a great group of people to be around, and deals are being made. So, because that's my plan, right? I mean, as I always say within the infinite banking space, I'm never going to tell you how to go make your money, how to go invest your money. But if you want to have those buddy conversations, I'll turn you on to what I'm doing, what's working out for me over here. And really, I mean, my strategy is my policies. That's the foundation to everything that I do. That's just where I store, protect my money, get the government out of my hair. And then through my policies is how I finance and buy the things in life. This van that I'm sitting here at, inside of, my real estate investments, my insurances, the car insurance, the health insurance, how I pay my chiropractic bill, right? So just everything that I do within my life it all goes through my policies first, and then I go out and place those dollars elsewhere, making my money work even harder for me. So that's why I put no money in 401ks, IRAs, Roth accounts, no money in the stock market. And people have different strategies, you know what I mean? So just keep an open mind as you're learning new things. As Nelson Nash always says, never hit that arrival syndrome. So just continue to learn, be a sponge, and absorb information. And you don't got to implement everything, right? I say that all the time too. Just be a sponge, hear what people are saying. I do have a special guest who's going to be joining us today. Now, he is on the West Coast side, okay? So it's very early for him, but he'll be joining us, and he's actually going to be one of our featured speakers at Tampa. But before we get into it, good morning, Mr. Thomas. Good to see you, my man. Dexter, hello. Dexter, you should be in Tampa. I'm just saying, okay? And bring Corey with you. Alfredo, good to see you. You're probably working right now. I know you got the early shift. So good morning, my friends. All right. Well, today I have a fun topic that I want to get into. And let me tell you, I thought about this topic when Daisy and I, so Daisy's my cat, if y'all don't know, she's my child, okay? But Daisy and I, we were in New Mexico, and we were heading west. We were heading out to Arizona. Our final stop was Tucson, and then I started driving south from Tucson. I went to Tombstone. I didn't even know what Tombstone is, but I guess Tombstone's like a very famous town. You know, I guess they made a lot of movies on it. I don't know. I'm a little uncultured in the movie world. I'm getting there. But I just pulled off because it said parking. I said, you know, I'm getting tired. Let's just pull off for this evening. And come to find out, I stayed 2 nights in Tombstone, which is a really cool, like old Western vibey type of town. I stayed 2 nights there. I actually met a friend. Okay, just real quick, short story. I don't think I shared this yet, but I was working all day. I was working from like 7 a.m. and then I got off my last meeting about 6:30. And I was like, okay, I am tired. I do not want to cook myself dinner tonight. So I'm going to go out. And when I try and find restaurants, I use Yelp. I love Yelp. I'm an avid Yelp user. I even post my own reviews on Yelp because I'm a foodie. And I was seeing a lot of the restaurants, right? And so one of the restaurants that popped up was this Kate's Saloon. And I said, okay, this place looks kind of cool. So I walk in, and actually the guy is originally from New York. And so he made a really good Reuben. And I love Reuben. So I got the Reuben, a little side salad. I was sitting there eating my dinner. And I was just chit-chatting with the bartender who was there, because it was just myself. So I was sitting up there at the bar. And he goes, hey, the girl over there, she's a solo traveler too. You should go talk to her. And I was like, okay, I'll go talk to her. So after I finish my meal, I close out my tab, I walk over to her, and we hit it off. So, you know, she's 25 years old. She's actually originally from Ohio. She was in town for a week just doing a solo little travel thing for herself, vacation time. And we hung out that evening. And then the next morning we got up and we had breakfast together. So I made a new friend when I was on the road. That was kind of fun. Now we follow each other on Instagram. I have her phone number. We've been kind of chit-chatting. But then after Tombstone, then I hit Bisbee. Bisbee, Arizona was really, really cool. Now I'm having deja vu. Maybe I did say this last week. But then I headed east. I hit Dallas. I'm going to fill y'all in probably next week or the week after about the importance of long-term care, okay? We're having some issues this week with Nanny and Papa. I'll fill y'all in later on that. But now I'm heading back home to Florida here. So Annette is saying, yes, Annette, you're coming to Tampa. I'm very excited to see you, my girl. All right. But I thought about this topic when Daisy and I were in New Mexico at the White Sands National Park. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is perfect, right? Because I was having some thoughts to myself in the morning time is when I write a lot of my thoughts down that I was having. And I made a big list. It kind of is a big list, a few bullet points here, probably about 10 or 12 bullet points of things that will take you far in business. And these are just topics that I have learned over my years as being a young entrepreneur, and then also coming from a family of entrepreneurs as well, with mom and dad being in the chiropractic business. So I have a few bullet points I want to get into, but we're probably not going to cover it all in our time here today. But I'm going to probably do a part 2, part 3 if we have to type of series. And reminder, y'all, I'm here live every Thursday morning, 9 a.m. Eastern time. And if you don't catch it live, you can also catch the recordings on YouTube underneath the Money Multiplier or the Hannah Kessler channel or podcast. Okay, so it is a podcast show as well. If you just search up Money Mornings with Hannah, you'll be able to go and catch those replays as well. So before we get into it, I'm excited to be joined here by Mr. Eric Zwigart. And hopefully I'm saying that correctly, okay? He'll correct me once I bring him on. But Eric, he's a fund manager. He's an operator who understands what it really takes to build and sustain a business at a high level. And like I mentioned, this is going to be part 1 of the series that I'm starting, Things That Will Take You Far in Business, where we're going to talk about real lessons, not just theory. And today we're going to be diving into honesty, the ownership, and why the best deals are always a win-win situation. So let me bring Mr. Eric on here with me. Good morning, my friend.
Good morning, Hannah. How you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. Nice to see you.
Hey, so are you still in Dallas or where are you at right now?
Yeah, still in Dallas. I'm at the Las Colinas TPC course at the Ritz-Carlton here, so it's pretty nice.
Good. No, very good. Well, thank you for carving out a little bit of time for us. We appreciate you being here. And especially you being one of our speakers coming up in Tampa too. And honestly, y'all, I mean, I personally invest with Eric, okay? So I'm bringing y'all real people who I actively do things with. But Eric, okay, so of my topic today, things that will take you far in business, here's just one of the topics that I thought about. Reply to people. Be easy to communicate with. Oh my goodness, y'all. Okay, so Eric, you are very, very great at communication. I mean, I will just ring you up out of the blue and you answered 9 times out of 10. And even if you don't answer me, you'll get back to me. You'll send me a text like 10 minutes later and say, hey, I'm in a meeting right now. Let me call you back in just a little bit. So let me ask you, as being a fund manager operator, if I can say that, you know.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Right. How important is it to be easy to communicate with?
Well, it is totally important. There's one thing that you kind of get, when you have close contacts and access, it's like at some point you have to have a little bit of flow to it. So having an assistant or having somebody, a communication system that's going to get to you, and knowing that key person that, that sometimes you have a little gatekeeper going there. I don't always have that with you, but most people, I've had the same number for 30 years. So, the same cell phone number and the same number for 30 years. So I think there's like 10,000 plus contacts in my phone. It's like overloaded. But it is important because, and then the other part of it is one of the things I try to stick with is, once you get, somebody gets to you, try to do at least a 24-hour return. Sometimes I'll have people ping me multiple times in a day. And then, hopefully they understand that, there's something going on, or whether I'm at a conference. I'm at a conference right now called Board of Advisors. It's a CEO conference, very, very dynamic, and everybody gets together once a quarter. So these are topics we talk about all the time, but, access through email and your admin and everybody tied in, that you really want to try to get back to somebody within a 24-hour time frame.
Yeah. And I can tell you for like a money multiplier standard, it's 48 business hours, y'all. I mean, that is our standard for everything that we do. Emails, even if it's like, this is what I tell my team, even if it's hey, I got your email, I'm going to reply here in X amount of time, or I'm working on it, get right back to you. That is appropriate. Just let the other person know that you're there working on them, because communication is very important. I'll tell you, one guy actually, he still hasn't replied to me. I'm trying to switch my business trust into a holding LLC for a lot of my investments that I'm doing. And my new CPA turned me on to this guy. The guy's not replying back to my emails. I said, okay, well, I gave you 3 chances, 3 strikes, you're out. I'm taking my business elsewhere. So, and I actually told my CPA, I said, dude, this guy doesn't get back to your people. I would not recommend him to anybody else personally. I even had one situation with one of my in my borrowers where he was late on a payment to me, and I don't micromanage people. Okay. So like, I'll give you about 5 days. And if I don't see the payment hit my bank account, then I'm going to start calling you. I'm going to start texting you, seeing what's going on. Well, he didn't get back to me for about 3 weeks. Well, come to find out, he had a family situation down in, I want to say it was the DR. I want to say Dominican Republic or maybe Honduras. Those are 2 ringing the bell. And he says, hey, I'm sorry. I had a family emergency. I'm down here and I just didn't have cell service down here. That's okay. Like, I get it. Life happens. But dude, if you're going to leave for that amount of time, I think it's just important to handle some business matters. I don't know. Talk to me. Is that a little insensitive? Like, it was 3 weeks. The dude didn't get back to me and I didn't get paid.
Well, now that you say it, I mean, it sounds insensitive, but it's not. You're because you start to get a little worried because that's a money matter. So it is important to have those things in place and have a staff that can help out. Excuse me, but also, in that instance, just be sure to put an auto reminder on your email that says, I have a situation. Excuse me. I have a situation, and I'm going to be out of pocket for a while, but don't worry. You'll hear from me when I can get back on the grid, and something, and then that pretty much clears you to go deal with what you need to deal with.
Yep. So no, it's perfect. So then it kind of gets me into my point too. Do what you say you're going to do. I think that's one of my biggest pet peeves is just do what you say you're going to do. I don't care how you get it done. Like I said, I'm not a micromanager, but even with, I'm going to put my cleaning ladies on blast for a second, but my cleaning people at my condo, I got a little grumpy with them because I got new mats in my bathroom and they're dark blue mats. Okay. So you can really see like where the lint is picking up and, I got cats, you can see the cat hair and stuff. And they roll up the mats without vacuuming them first and then just go mop the floors and lay the mats back down. I'm like, guys, you need to vacuum the mats before you just pick them up and then mop the floors. Like, I don't know why I got to tell y'all this. You know what I mean? So just do what you say you're going to do. And I'm telling you, that's going to take you so far in business as well. But another point I want to mention, and Eric, I want to get your feedback on this because actually, my younger brother, Zach, as well. Zach invests with you. And a good business deal is when it's a win-win deal. Okay. And when I tell my family members, because we're real estate investors, I got an older brother who's a property manager. He does some real estate investments as well. And then also my father. And they always ask me, how is Eric able to pay you that amount of interest on the money that he's borrowing? What is he doing over there to make it a win-win deal? So I kind of want you to answer that question and then kind of get into the topic of making it a win-win deal. So how are you doing your investing with your fund to make this such a win-win deal, to make it so profitable for people like myself?
Well, so that's a great question, and thanks. Yeah, so basically, I mean, if you typically in real estate, if you're looking at something that's cash flowing or a long-term investment, it's more of a cash flow situation. So your percentage is kind of capped at what the rents do. If you look at the typical real estate deals, most of them are passive real estate deals that you're actually a part of or you're an owner on. For ours is just a straight it's just a straight fund, and then I have a 506c fund that's actually advertised, and it's for accredited investors only, and it's advertised at 22, 24, and 26%. Those are all based on what you put in. So 22% is for 22% is for below 100,000, 24% is above 100,000, and 26% is above a million. So we have a certain amount we want to hit, but the key is it's deal flow. So I'm in single family, and if we can turn your money 2 times, 3 times in that amount of time, then we're really reducing our interest rate on a per house basis. So it's per turn and per house. So you get we secure folks' money on a trust deed behind the bank. So the bank is a first senior lender at 85%, and then the down payment and the construction are at that higher rate. So now we're not financing the entire deal at those rates. It's actually comes in at because we're doing the turns, it comes in at half of that. Because if you got two houses, is the plan, you take that rate and you can kind of cut it down in half. So it gets us closer to a hard money rate at the rates that I'm giving. So it's a win-win. We get to scale more properties. The overall fund is there because we're franchising and we're building across the entire country. So we're bringing in kind of like a business in a box uh, concept, and we give them our accounting, our SOPs, our project management software, all of these tools to take a fix and flipper that maybe was doing 6 projects a year and making good money, but now we can help them scale. So as we bring them in and we get essentially, we're the operator and we're in control of the monies and also the territory, and give them a geographic area, we're able to get more deal flow. So the more deal flow and the more houses we put through the system, the lower that interest rate comes down. But it's only really a small percentage of the house because it's only your down payment and the construction, as opposed to the whole 100% cost being at that rate. The bank rate is at 10% or 11% on the 85%. So really, it's not that we're financing everything. We're just financing a portion of it, and then we're able to scale, and deal flow is what brings that down. And it also diversifies the investors over a lot of properties, so it's a little bit more secure, in my opinion.
Yeah. Hey, can I ask? I mean, how many? I don't know if I can ask this. I've never asked it. How many people are involved, like in your fund with you? Would you say?
Well, in the two different funds, the 506c is a little bit bigger than the Friends and Family fund. So I there's two different separate companies. So advertising wise, on the 506c, we have about 50 approximately. That one is opened a lot sooner than the Friends and Family. So the Friends and Family have put probably about 100 through. Some stay, some go, but for the most part, everyone's always stayed. So they stay and they'll come out from a project and then put it into the next project. So they continue to roll it over, and we continue to use those for those projects.
Gotcha.
So probably about total is in the 506c company, because they have to be separate, because the 506b, the Friends and Family, is just for it can be for non-accredited investors and it can be for accredited investors, but you can't advertise it, and you have to get a referral. So if you have somebody that wants to be in the fund at those percentages, 22, 24, 26%, they'd have to get referred to you, to me, or I'd have to establish a relationship with them and know a friendship, and that way we go through the process. But the 506c, if you're accredited, you can get in, just with the click of a link, and you're in, and you can jump in.
And everything that you're doing, is it all in California or is it all across the states? Because I know
So
mine.
at this point, it's all in California. We're about to take that to the next level and bring on the first 6 territories. So some are spread out in California. So we're going to do a Northern Cal, a desert territory. We have Nevada on board, and then Ohio, Pennsylvania, Dallas is another one that wants to come on board. So we have all those folks, Virginia. I have all those folks in place to be the first betas that come on with our national franchise type system, territories we call it, and that's ready to go. So once that goes and then that's worked out, then we'll be able to scale that and literally advertise to fix and flippers to bring them in and convert them and get them on board within a 90-day window and start ramping that up. And the goal is to get about at least 50 territories to have something where maybe there's like an exit for me, or have it packaged up for somebody. But the EBITDA and the projections are pretty much in a 3 to 5 year window.
Got it. And so talk to me. I mean, if this is someone's like first time hearing this, they're probably thinking, oh my goodness, 20+% on a deal like this. Okay, well, what do I need to know to protect myself if I do want to get involved in something like this? I mean, I know a lot of us as like let's just call it like street people, we think, okay, I want this because I want the return, but I don't want people just to think about the return. I want people to think about all sides of the angle of what questions should I be asking. And so I want to ask you, like, what questions should people be asking if they do come to you?
Well, for us, I mean, you want to ask about your security and how that works, and we're able to take on retirement funds as well because we secure we secure the investment and the funds via the vehicle that we made. So it's via the company, and then the company liens the property so that interest and principal are protected at escrow. So when the house sells, the company gets the money back, and it's a constant deal flow. So that number one is at least you know that there's a security going on to the property. So you have that one piece of it. The other part is if you use retirement funds and those tax-free type accounts, if you are on a property that has a mortgage, then it triggers this UBIT tax type of situation. So that is why we built it the way we did in order to not have people taxed like that. It's almost basically the same amount of tax you would pay. So your tax-free account really it doesn't do as good. So it doesn't do what it's meant to do because you get that UBIT tax. So you've got to look at that. The other part is the due diligence. In any investment, investments are risky. It's just like you put your money in Wall Street and Wall Street goes up and down. And, that's the one thing that we try to stabilize with this and say, hey, here's a flat level that we can sustain. And as long as we're doing that deal flow of two houses a year, that takes you down to close to hard money, we call it. So hard money banking is, right around 10 or 11%. So that really brings us down to where we need to be. And the more deal flow we put there, we can even get that interest rate lower if we're turning the money faster. So if we're using more of investor money faster, then that brings our interest rate lower on a per house basis. Because the key is now you're working with products, you're not working with rents and people renting, which is one of those things that I also like to bring up is that we're in and out of these properties, so we know the market better and faster because we factor in, hey, if there's a little bit of a glitch, it's not going to be something that's going to affect. Sorry, I lost it. Tremendously over a 6-month period, whereas you could get a real estate boom or bust, and it could wipe you out over time. And that's what really happens to the folks that have long-term positions and aren't prepared for that. We're a short-term position, so we're in and out, and we factor in some little bit of a loss factor and try to be conservative on our projections and underwriting.
Good. No, good. Hey, when you think back to your
Ooh,
early career.
I lost you, Hannah. I lost the sound.
Lost the sound? All right. Hey, testing.
Shoot.
Hello. Hello. I know, hotels.
Hey, Hannah, I lost the sound on you. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
I might have to log back in. Something
back
went
in,
off on
that's
my phone
okay.
and I lost you. Let me log right back in.
Absolutely. Thanks, Eric. Hey, y'all. And what I'm going to do is let me put Eric's contact info right here on the screen for y'all. All right. So if you want to get in contact with Eric, Eric at Rock Solid app. Wait, hold on, y'all. Did I do that correctly? Yeah. I'm just surprised it's not Rock Solid Cap, as in capital.com. All right, whatever. That's his email address. And then actually that is his cell phone number, so you can always text him or call him there too. That's what I recommend. All right. Well, hey, getting on to my list here. Let's also talk about, we just talked about good business is a win-win deal. We talked about do what you say you're going to do. Be honest with people. Your reputation is all that you have. Okay. And here's Mr. Eric back. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, I can hear you now. Great.
Good. Hey, my next point is be honest with people. Your reputation is all that you have. And I want to ask you, when you think back to your early career, what's one lesson that you learned the hard way that has shaped how you operate today? Does anything come to your mind?
Certainly. I mean, so I've been in business for, I've been an entrepreneur in business for 25 years, and I ran my father's company during that time as well. And I had an oil company that was doing about 150 million a year. Probably one of the largest case good oil distributors in the country. In COVID, that blew up and it melted down. So my story isn't just real estate. I wish it was, because I've always done well in real estate and never, I knock on wood, but I never lost anything in real estate. So it's always been good to me, and that's why I stuck with it on my pivot. But I had a $150 million oil company that just completely imploded. And so that's why I call the fund in our companies, excuse me, rock solid, because we want to build on a rock and not the sand. So biblically, you got to build on the rock and stay with the stability and slow growth. One of the biggest things in building it, from one person to 150 employees and 150 million a year was I didn't look at personnel sometimes as much. I thought I'd put people in positions that they matched, but I didn't pay attention to as much analysis of what people really fit to in their personality and character types. So that part is big. And then also a big part is management. I never used a management system in that big company, and it also helps melt down. So you're missing KPIs, you're missing proper structure and SOPs that you can come to. And every week, as a CEO or a founder, you want to be able to go to one place, a dashboard, and know what's going on. So that was missing in those companies. So that's not missing in Rock Solid, and we continue to improve that. But that would be some of the two or the bigger things that I would say is make sure you're putting people in the right place. Management systems are very important, and when you do that, you can also attract talent that knows that management system. So there's systems like I think it's EOS, and I've really liked this other system called Empire, and now I'm working with a consultant that has his own system. His name's Carl Gold. Pretty let's say referred name to me, and he's in the board of advisors. So he's a very cool guy, and he does a lot of business consulting. So I'm excited to continue to go down that path with him, which I never did before. I thought I had surrounded myself with people that know those things, but the truth was no. It was always everything flowed to me, and everything was on me. And to this day, I still have a lot of that happening. So in order to get out of those things and delegate, you have to have the proper management and C-suite, folks in your corner, and you need to and you need to follow the SOPs and have that type of culture, which brings into the point being honest. You got to be honest with your clients and your investors, and if there's an issue, you got to go to them. Updates and clarity. One of the biggest things we've had is sometimes, when the payments come in, we pay by the 15th, but then the bank ACHs it. It could take a couple days to clear bank. So people, start to say, oh, but they get the confirmation that it's gone on the 15th. So those are things that are little things to think about.
Yeah. Even my brother, because my brother's, he's young, and he'll text me. He says, "Hey, I got the email, but I don't see it in my bank account." I said, "Zach, it was President's Day. Chill out. Check tomorrow."
Yeah, there it is. Yeah.
No, but you guys do. You guys really, really do communicate. Let me ask you this. Have you ever seen someone damage their business long term by protecting their ego instead of telling the truth? And I know one person right now who's kind of on the hot fire, and some of y'all may know who I'm talking about. But have you ever seen somebody just totally deplete their business because they had to protect their ego instead of?
Maybe me. So, you
Yeah.
know, I lost a $150 million company and $35 million personally. And a few people that were friends and family at that time, I did my best to protect them as much as possible. And I believe they got back all their principal, but over the years they lost some of the interest that they made over me. But the most important thing was trying to protect my investors over myself even. So I even to this day, still have some things to clear up from a $150 million crash. Isn't pretty. So that was my oil company, and we were nationwide. But my ego, in the sense that what I did was I got into hand sanitizer, and I didn't stay in my lane. That wasn't in our lane, but I did it for COVID, and then we produced a lot of it. And I thought, hey, we're the next hand sanitizer king of the world. This is like printing money. We're making 30,000 gallons a day. In 30 days, we went from 0 to 30,000 gallons a day. So it was incredible the things we were able to accomplish as a small team and move like that and get to that scale. But the ego, and I saw a little cat there. The ego was no, everything's gonna be fine. This stuff is gonna sell. Let's go. Let's go with let's go with it's going to happen. We're still going to sell it. And everyone's saying, hey, we got to dump this. We've got to do this. And so those profits that I made probably about 10 million, or I had 10 million that we would have profited and was in our bank account. Instead, I reinvested it in. I went all in thinking this is a long-term thing. And no, it was a short-term thing. Should have got in and out and listened to some of my advisors and folks around me, which I didn't do. So that's the ego thinking I have the answers, but you need to listen to your people, and you need to listen to people that you put around you. If you don't, then you got to take the heat yourself and put it on your shoulders. And losing a $150 million company and 35 million personally is a lot to put on your shoulders, but you get through it. And that's really a big part of the story of Rock Solid, of coming back and a comeback story and sticking in real estate, because again, I never lost in real estate. So it was really attractive to move on from that company to this eventually, and how it morphed. But there's a hero's journey in there somewhere, and hopefully that's why I'm here today with you. And God does those things. Sometimes he'll take you off one track and put you on another.
That's right. That's right. And being a business owner is hard. I mean, I sit here and I just keep thinking back to even like you kind of get to this point in your investor journey where it's like, okay, yep, I want to make some cash flow. I want to build my personal empire. But then you kind of get to a point where it's like, okay, it's not so much about making the money as much of what it is of helping people. Like that's why I love hey, I'm gonna shout out Kevin Shortell. Kevin Shortell is another speaker who's going to be at Money Game Live. And, he even told me a story about, because he's a note investor, okay? And so he's going to be talking about his notes, also getting into lending and private money club and different things. But, he went into a deal. Yeah, was he going to make as great of returns as if he went into some other note investing deals? No, but he did it because it was a widowed wife who just lost her husband, had a young baby girl, and if he didn't help take over this note for her to lower those payments, she would be on the streets and wouldn't have this house anymore. So you honestly too, as you evolve and you grow and you mature as an investor, as a human, even your priorities will start to shift as well. I can even say, like within our business, at the Money Multiplier, I check in on my people. I just had a call with 2 of my application team members this week, just checking in, saying, hey, how are things going? Are you happy? Do you still like doing this stuff? Because I don't want people to clock into a 9 to 5 and just dread it and have their heart not be there, because if their heart's not there, they're not going to do a good job. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
personality test, y'all. If you guys are a business owner, this is one thing mom and dad did from like day one in the chiropractic days, is they would give personality tests to the employees when they're going through the hiring process, because you can tell me you're great at computers, but if your personality test comes back saying, hey, you actually like working with people one-on-one and interactive and not just sitting behind a desk, I'm not going to put you behind the desk. You need to go out there and do your strong suits, because you're going to be happier and you're going to be more fulfilled and have more purpose and actually want to come into work. Instead of calling me up at 7 a.m., you got to be there at 8 a.m. saying, you know, my stomach kind of hurts. I don't think I'm going to be in today, right?
Yeah.
So it is just important as business owners just to even take that initiative of putting your people in the correct places. So Eric, a question that I was thinking of too, why do you think so many entrepreneurs struggle with taking accountability? Yeah, it could be ego, but I don't know, is there anything else that you think that the entrepreneurs, because we're type A people, I would say most entrepreneurs are probably pretty much type A folks, and why do you think we struggle sometimes with taking that accountability?
Well, aside from the ego, sometimes you'll get to a point where I can see in the entrepreneur journey, there's different levels of you go through. Business isn't always black and white, so sometimes there's a little bit of gray. So you want to paint a good picture to certain folks, because you think it's part of the evolution of a product, of a service, of whatever, and you want to be able to fix it in the time frame that you think you can. But so sometimes you're trying to, buy yourself a little time to fix whatever glitch is happening, or whatever, whatever's happening in that situation. But the problem is you can get too overly optimistic, and when you do that, it then can backfire and turns into looking like you weren't honest. So when I brought a bunch of folks in because I had a plan in that, and before the meltdown was happening, I had people come in, and my plan was to do a certain something with their funds that came in, and I had another refi coming in, and when that came in, there were certain levers I could have pulled to make that come together and essentially save that company. The problem is I didn't have the right advisors around me, and so when I was telling them about what I wanted to do, it was absolutely 100% the truth. Now, what happens is sometimes that falls out of your control. So I had a situation where my bank and a CRO got together, and they weren't supposed to be together, and it just kind of blew up from there. So with that being said, I come back and you look at it and say, well, you did this certain thing, but it didn't really work out that way. And that's where everybody always has to know, and nothing's ever guaranteed with investments, self-directed investments. Nothing's guaranteed in the stock market. Nothing's guaranteed. I mean, I use the example that, I'm not as much, when I had that company, I had 401ks and my own IRAs and things like that. And, I remember when you wake up and within a week or two, 40% is wiped out. Well, it takes 2 to 3 years, maybe sometimes, to put that back. When we had some of those things go down right before COVID, and then there was some nice big booms with the last Trump administration, and then there was some tough years with the former administration right now, and now hopefully you're seeing some gains. But those are things that it's going to happen, and so you can predict certain things like the S&P and say, hey, averages are 10%, but you're still going to get this fluctuation. And
Yeah.
that's what I try to help out with, and I think this fund really is good at. So accredited investors, they can come in at those rates, and then non-accredited investors and accredited investors of your show, if they reach out to you and you refer them to me, they can come to me and I can put them in a 506B fund. If it's a friend of yours and you're a referral, they can come through you to me. So there's two ways I can personally take care of people, because I have both companies.
Good. No, good. And actually, to that point, that's what I wanted to kind of get into next. What are, if I'm putting my feelers out there and I'm looking at a whole bunch of different opportunities for myself, what are red flags that tell you a deal is one-sided or it's unsustainable? What are some red flags that kind of point out to you?
Well, it's interesting, but yeah, we get that a lot because of the interest rate we have in real estate. It's not the norm. People are normally looking at that 10, 9, 10, 11%, 12%, plus maybe some, but they're owners. So if something goes wrong, you're going to have a cash call and have to put money into that because you're an owner of that property, that building or whatever.
Yeah.
So that's one of those things that you look at the percentage of what you're being offered. Most of the time, when you see things that are too good to be true without a really clear explanation, it's usually too good to be true.
Yeah.
There's a lot of stuff that goes in the venture capital world, in business itself. The percentages, I mean, when you're up and you're on an upswing, businesses can make a lot of money. It's turning the money. You can turn money many times over. When your product's making 30% and you sell it 10 times, you actually made 300% on that product that you bought. So you've done it 10 times. I got 30% and I did it for 10 months. Well, when you started with your investment and you did it 10 times, you made 300%. Businesses have those opportunities to do things like that and multiples and get multiples over time. So entrepreneurship and smaller investments have some of those good X returns. IPO businesses that go in, they have good returns. But those are the things that you want to look at and you want to say, is this real? Do they have a customer base? Do they have a product? In my world, I like asset based things. And right now, with the way the market is, you look at gold, people are afraid of inflation. You look at gold, you look at real estate, you look at precious metals, all of those things. You look at, crypto to be a potential help in that world, which I don't know as much, by the way. So you might know, you probably know more than me. So I've always stayed with real estate because my father did it and taught myself and my brother to stick in that world, because it feels good. It's a tangible piece of property. It's an asset, a depreciable asset that is sitting there. You can see it, you can touch it, you feel it. That's what scares me about some of those things that you can't touch and feel and see, is not as it gets a little scary for me.
And I'll say this, y'all, actually, this is what Brent Kessler says a lot, to the point that I'm like, Dad, we just got to sew this on a pillow. He says, the only purchase I regret not buying is a piece of property. Because at any time, and the only purchase that I've never regretted buying is a piece of property. He still talks to this day, oh my goodness, about this one condo, Madeira Beach, Florida. We used to rent it out before we moved to Florida, and he could have bought it. I want to say back in the day, Dad's got the exact numbers, but I want to say it was back in the day, he could have bought it for about 500, and 3 years later it appreciated to over 800 just because of where the marketplace was at the time. He's like, I'm still kicking myself to this day that I never bought that freaking condo. So now he's out there doing some deals. A lot of y'all know Mr. Chris Rude. Chris Rude is a great, phenomenal guy as well, y'all. So a lot of you in the Chris Noggle world, you guys know Chris Rude. He's a mobile home park investor, but he also does some other stuff. But him and Dad are buying some condos over in Destin, Florida, because I think he's like kind of still kicking himself thinking, I should have bought that damn condo. But no, that was perfect. Your reputation is all that you have. And I mean, seriously. Hey, Eric, Dexter does have a question.
Sure.
He's asking, is there any insurance or assurance used to solve those scenarios? Advisor's liability, question mark?
So so if we're talking about, for me, all obviously the whole entire thing that I'm talking about today, I'm not a financial analyst or professional that can give professional advice to everybody. It's my opinion. So whatever we talk about today is my opinion, but assurances in your investments, those are hard as well, because it's hard to tell. Once you tell someone, hey, unless you've there's been times in my journey that I've offered a personal guarantee on certain things or done certain things, personally. But for the most part, you gotta kind of know that there's a risk to investing. There's a risk to doing your own investing. There's a risk to buying property because you can lose. You can get it, and the next thing you know, it doesn't rent, or the factory down the street closed down, and now you got no rental pool. Things like that can always pop up. Speculation is really what happens during stock and in real estate and in these things. So we're speculating. What I like to always do is you look at the concept and look at what is, in theory, does it make logical sense? Does this product make sense? Does it have a market? Does it have a future proof type of thing? Does it have the right founder? Most of the time, if you go at the founder and do they have a business background? Can they handle this? Can they do that? Those are very important things. Some people don't. And that's when you can get in trouble because they don't know the pitfalls, and therefore they fall into this up and down type of cycle as an entrepreneur. So I think that's a good question. Assurances are hard to come by in investing. It's like when you put money into a stock, are you assured that it's going to go up no matter what? Mm-mm. Are you assured that gold's going to go up no matter what? Mm-mm. So wherever you put your money, you're not really always given assurances. And if you were, it's tough to do. So what's the closest thing you do? It a bank or the government can
Or
maybe give you.
there's one
Oh, or insurance.
whole life insurance policy. Y'all got
There you go. Actual insurance and infinite banking, right?
Hey, and Lisa's saying, important to do your due diligence. Yes, ma'am. Yes, it is. Good morning, by the way, my little love bug. All right. Hey, I know you're at your conference. This is my last question for you.
Yeah.
If you could give one piece of advice to someone who wants to go far in business, what would it be?
So my one piece of advice would be again to, if you want to go far in business, is this is a great one actually. And you were mentioning earlier about folks, and this happened recently. I met with a gentleman because I was wanting to I'm ADHD and I get things going, and I make a lot of deals and deal making. But at the end of the day, I didn't know about conscious and subconscious thinking. So I don't know if you ever talk about that on here, but I bought into a company called MindTune, and it's mindtunenow.com. And the gentleman's name is Marco Lopez. Well, I brought with him the business aspect of I think he's a great coach and has a great system. So I bought into mindtunenow.com, and I'm 50% owner with him. So we're developing a product. So it's a great entryway into conscious and subconscious thinking, and it helps you clear your mind and be still and make decisions from a still place. So this goes back to you saying, hey, we also have a need to give back. That is one of the things that I want to give back to, because I want people to experience this at a good cost. And so eventually it'll be a community and you'll come in at a certain cost. And if you can hold yourself accountable, you get the full system for a good cost. Me, as an entrepreneur, I paid the full coaching price. And at the time it was $25,000. So it kind of holds you a little bit more accountable, and the guy is on you. So the more you pay, the more you get accountable, because you're a business person, you're busy, you won't let it stick. So having him there made that stick. And then that brings us to your question. What is the main thing I would think about? It would be having a direction. He helped me understand also how a personal direction and a direction for your business. Because what happens is we're good at what we're doing, but if we don't put yourself in a touch, feel, see type of scenario down the road, you're really just sailing around or boating around or in the water, sailing without a destination. And that's what I did with a big $150 million company. You make it 100 or having 150 million in sales. I didn't always have a destination. We did goals, but we didn't see ourselves in those goals. And that's where if you see yourself someplace, if you see yourself someplace personally, if you see yourself somewhere in business, it's amazing that you can achieve what you see. and feel it and understand, hey, what does it look like in those 3 years? Where are you? What does it smell like? What is the sounds around you? Well, all of those things, what is happening? We did an exercise. It took about 10 minutes, 15 minutes, and it was amazing. It's direction, personal direction and business direction. So that would be my biggest one. Plot your course by the direction. And if you keep your mind on that destination, chances are you're going to get there.
100%. You know what's funny is that you bringing that up right now, that was actually the exact topic that we got into last night with my mentor. We have a weekly Zoom call at 8 o'clock Eastern time every Wednesday. And he was on there saying, you can have it all, but you got to know what you want. And that's the hardest part to figure out. What do you actually want? A lot of people think they know what they want. I mean, I can tell you, even for my business, I thought I wanted to be big boss lady. I thought I wanted to be owner of a company. I don't like managing people. That's not what I want to do. I want to go out and go talk to the public. I don't like to manage people. I'm not good at it. That's just not my strong suit, right? And so when you get very clear on what you actually want, you can truly have it all. So you're going to talk.
I'm 100% behind you there because I'm in the same thing, but I find myself building these companies and I'm in flush in the management of it all. But my forte is in sales and being with people and growing those things and being a visionary. But yet I'm way into management. So that's part of the building your systems so
And a
that folks
team.
can elevate you out of it. And we need to get out of that part and get ourselves into a role that really fits with us. I'm in the same way. I don't like management. I don't like manage people, and
No,
probably my people don't like me managing them. But
straight up.
we need ones in place that will do a great job and have that once a week call and connection.
Yeah. And honestly, actually, that's a perfect way to end. Hold on, my ADD, I just lost it. It was managing people. Control. I'm a huge control freak. It is hard. It is very, very hard for me to give up that control sometimes. And let's be honest. No, are people going to do it as well as what you could do it? Probably not. But is it good enough? Yeah, and they'll rise to that occasion. After they do it over and over again, they will rise to that occasion and do it exactly how you would do it. But sometimes it's hard to let go, and you got to give up that control sometimes. Let people take over that task, because at the end of the day, then it's freeing up your time so that you can focus on making the positive changes, impacting, getting the business through the doors, making sure the business is cash flowing, yada, yada. So delegation is important. Yes, it's hard. I'm still trying to learn that trait. Okay. But thank you, Eric. And I'm sorry, I didn't even ask you. Is it okay that I've been sharing your email and phone number here on the screen?
Yeah, absolutely. Share my email, phone number. Website for the accredited investors is rocksolidcap.com. So that's rock solid cap with a C. My email only has the AP.
Okay.
So rocksolidcap.com, and then that takes you through. You can go through landing pages and learn about the investment there on accredited. And if someone's non-accredited and wants to come in and get into that 22+%, then they can email you, and then you can email me, and then there'll be a referral, and we'll chat about it, and then get them situated on a 506B friends and family type of deal.
No, good. And that's how we met, y'all. I mean, I was speaking on a webinar. I met, actually, they'll be in Tampa too. Cheryl and Rebecca, just FYI.
Oh, nice. I love them.
So I was speaking on the webinar. Cheryl was speaking, and she had her daughter who was helping her with tech, and she's a little bit younger than me. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is full circle, because that's where I started. Dexter, you know Dexter. But then I just reached out to her because I was like, hey, we should talk, and just kind of taking it from there. So that's how we got connected. So yeah, send me an email if you want to get connected with Eric. If you're a non-accredited investor, send me an email, hannah@themoneymultiplier.com. Like I said, y'all, no more VIP, but we do have a couple GA tickets left for Money Game Live. So moneygamelive.com, you can see what it's all about. Les Brown, Eric here, Eddie Austin, who y'all met last week. Obviously, Larry Steinhaus is going to be with me. Courtney Moeller, Kevin Shortell, Jeremiah Dew. Y'all know Jay Dew. He's going to be emceeing the event. He's a freaking hoot and a half, my man.
I love Courtney Moeller, by the way. She's amazing. I love her I love her deal and
Good.
her. Yeah, very close with. I like her a lot.
Oh, good. And last thing I'll leave you with, Lisa saying, listen to Earl Nightingale. He speaks to meeting goals. And I agree. Earl Nightingale is a great. Go to YouTube. Just look up Earl Nightingale. It's a good resource. All right, y'all. So I will be back next week for part 2. Probably, I was thinking about this actually this morning because next Thursday I'm going to be driving over to Tampa. I'll probably be on. I was just trying to get over to Tampa early. It's about a 3-hour drive from Daytona Beach, Florida. So I'll probably be on, but if I'm not, okay, I will catch y'all the following week. Just know that we got the Tampa event coming up. But until next week, thanks for being here. Do well, be good, and I'll see you next week. Bye, everyone.
Thank you so much, Hannah.